Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first tale today is from BritBear8, titled Man Tries to Scam Charity Shop for Free Clothes. This was years ago, when I spent a few months working in a charity shop and was surprised at many unscrupulous things that people tried to do. But this guy stands out for his "what kind of moron do you take me for" audacity, so I still think of him sometimes. I'm writing the gist of the conversation because I don't remember every word that was said. For context, in this shop, we were fortunate to be in a high-income area, so we were never short of clothing donations, and most of it good quality. This meant we didn't put any clothes on the shop floor in anything less than pristine condition, and nothing from super cheap brands, because we didn't have to. There are also several stages a piece of clothing goes through before it makes it onto the rail, so multiple people have checked it for defects. Then we check everything again when we go through the clothes to rotate stuff out, so there's a lot of quality control. Anyway, one day I'm working in the shop by myself, and a gentleman walks in. We'll call him Mr. C for Mr. Chancer. He's carrying one of our shopping bags and heading for the counter, so I hop behind it. Good morning. Hi, I bought this in here the other day and I'd like a refund, please. He reaches in his pocket and takes out a receipt and one of our price tags, which he places on the counter. I recognize my own handwriting on the tag. It's for a men's t-shirt and priced at almost the highest I would try to sell a t-shirt for. So I'm expecting to recognize this shirt since I dither a lot before I put a price that high on anything. Pulling off the tag is a bit sus, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point. But then, the smell of stale cigarette smoke invades my nose as he reaches into his bag, pulls out what looks like an old gray dishcloth, and drops it onto my counter. Tentatively, I unfurl this thing and note that it is in fact a t-shirt. He at least got that right, but the kind of t-shirt that you dread finding in a bag of donated clothes. This stinky rag definitely did not come from my shop. It had everything wrong with it. Years of fading and old stains, and the lower half was covered in little holes I suspect were caused by hot rocks. Those burning pieces of hash that fall out of a joint and burn holes in everything. It's also from a brand that would have only cost a couple of quid to begin with, so we wouldn't bother trying to sell it, especially not for the price on that tag. I'm sorry, not really insulted. I don't believe this came from our shop, so I'm not going to be able to give you a refund. In retrospect, I probably could have just been like, no tag, no refund, but I wanted him to know that I knew what he was trying to pull. Mr. C, rather feigned looking Pikachu face. What? Why? We wouldn't sell clothes in this condition. And why would you buy it? Are you the manager? No, but I am the only one here who can give refunds today. Who is your manager? When will the manager be here? And other questions of this type, but he's not acting anything like you'd expect from a disgruntled customer. He doesn't seem sure of himself at all. She'll be here tomorrow, so you're welcome to come back and ask her then. Well, okay then. Puts his stuff back in the bag and leaves. Me pulls air freshener out from under the counter to clear the smell and get back to whatever I was doing. I told the manager when she was back at work, and she was like, point him out to me if he comes back. But as far as I know, he never did. My guess is he never came back because he already knew the manager would most likely tell him the same thing you did, and the fact that he tried to pull a fast one and didn't get away with it, he probably didn't want to try it a second time. This next tale is from shawdees, titled Lady Paid with the Wrong Credit Card and It's All My Fault. I work the early shift, driving a forklift for a big box retailer. I also assist the front end once we open by cashiering whenever it's needed, which has been every day for the last few weeks, with this second wave of panic-stricken doomsday shoppers. Yesterday, my second to last customer approaches my line and informs me that she has 2 orders. I want this ring up separate from this. She rudely informed me while making wild hand gestures in the direction of her items on the conveyor belt. Sure thing, I reply, ignoring her abruptness. Customers request separate orders all the time, so this is not an issue at all. I ring up her first batch of items and tell her the total. She pays, and I begin on the second order. Upon finishing scanning her items, I inform her of her second total, and it is at this point that she stares at me with the same look Marty McFly made when his Nikes laced themselves.
"You want me to pay again?"
she asked. Well, yeah, I answer. You paid for your first order. This is your second transaction.
"So I have to pay again?"
she repeated, clearly not understanding what was happening. Ma'am, I addressed her as politely as I could. You have 2 orders. You've paid for the first one. Now I need you to pay for the second.
"Won't that double charge me?"
she asked incredulously. No, I replied. It's not a double charge. You're not being charged the same amount twice. You're being charged for your second order. The blankness in her stare stripped away what little remaining energy I had left after a long, strenuous, stressful week. I took a deep breath and attempted to explain the situation once more, as simply as possible. Ma'am, you have 2 orders. You swiped your card and paid for the first. It's time now to pay for the second order. The first one is done. Now it's time to pay for the second. The lady momentarily forgot where she was. Then after a few seconds, snapped back to reality and swiped her card. Her receipt popped up and I hand her both receipts and wish her a good day. And then her fucking brain exploded.
Wait, that's not what I wanted," she exclaimed. "I wanted to pay for this with this card, not this card," she said while waving 2 separate credit cards at me like I had any control over it. My heart sunk into my chest. I was almost done. The supervisor had already placed the closed sign on my lane. I was almost off. I was so close, yet so far away, because this lady clearly wasn't done with me. "I'm sorry," I said as genuinely as I could possibly muster. "All you said was that you wanted things rang up separately. You said nothing about separate cards. Also, you have the cards in your hand. I'm not the one swiping your cards. I'm sorry." "Well, can you undo it?" she said. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to call the supervisor over, ma'am. They may be able to refund one order and recharge you so you can use the right— "What?" she shouted while pulling down her mask would help her hear me. At that point, I felt like I was having a brain aneurysm. I collapsed my head and pinched my nose in the standard "I can't believe this shit" pose. Needless to say, this set her off into a tirade. "What is wrong with you?" she shouted. "I'll get a supervisor and maybe they can fix it," I say while both screaming internally and handing her the receipts. "That's a little bullshit," she said. "You know that? That's a little bullshit." A supervisor finally arrived, and while attempting to explain the issue, the lady cut me off and began ranting to the supervisor, Rachel, instead. She was then escorted to a register by the supervisor's podium where Rachel was able to rectify her issue. All the while, this lady was ranting and raving about how awful I am, and it's all my fault. I caught up with Rachel at the time clock a few moments later. "That lady was a bitch," she said. And I agreed, and that was the end of it. "Sorry you paid with the wrong card, lady, but blaming me for it is like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and claiming your order was wrong. You're the one who fucked up." I'm glad that the manager stepped in and you didn't have to deal with that lady any longer than you were required to. You did what she asked. You rang up 2 orders separately. That's initially what she asked from the start. Our next tale is by some girl from Sask, titled "No Questions Asked Return Policy." Yikes. My best friend and I were working customer service returns one summer, and a man walked in who had purchased a mattress topper. You know, like the foamy thing that goes over the top of a mattress. The bag had been ripped open, and you could visibly see hair on the thing, so we knew it had been used. We had a no questions asked return or exchange policy as long as the item was returned with a receipt. The policy states an employee must open the package and inspect it to see if it can hit the shelves again or if it should be disposed of, and by disposed of, it meant it would go to auction, clearance, or donated to charity. I was the unfortunate one to have to open this bag. Upon pulling out the foamy, the guy turned around as to not make eye contact with us while inspecting it. There were bed bugs crawling out the center, a large amount of what smelled like ammonia, possibly cat urine, and fecal matter.
I called my manager and explained what just happened, and in minutes, she was there to rush the refund through. I was pulled into the office and fired for discriminating against the store's return policy. I wasn't trying to argue. I thought it was disgusting that people would even try to get their money back and return something in that condition, so this is why I stopped shopping there. And to this day, I cringe and get itchy when I think of the fact that they just threw it into a donation bin and didn't burn it. If they actually threw that into a donation bin, that's pretty wrong. I mean, why are they going to spread those bed bugs and that nastiness to somebody else who doesn't deserve it? I'm glad you don't work or shop there anymore. They seem like a real shitty store. This next tale is from justildt, titled "Lady Wants Money Back in Something We Never Sold Her." I used to work in a small local department store in a rural town. We were not a chain and literally had 5 people working there. I'm working at the register and this older lady comes in and demands a refund on a dressing gown she bought for her husband. I check for a price sticker and ask her for a receipt. No, she must have thrown it out. At this point, I realize we don't even stock this product, so I have no idea where she bought it from, but it was definitely not our store. I tried explaining that 1, we don't stock this product, 2, we never have stocked this product. I even tried to find an invoice for us ever buying it. 3, the tag on the item was not even from our store. 4, even if it was, she doesn't have a receipt, so there's nothing I can do. She starts getting frustrated and belittling me, saying,
"Well, you obviously can't do anything. You're completely useless."
Yes. I apologize for my own sheer incompetence and not being able to give you money back for something we never sold you. She says she will never be back, and we have lost a loyal customer of 20 years. I mean, I've never seen her in the store before in my 8 years there, so not a huge loss. I love these customers that try to claim, "Oh, you've lost a loyal customer." If they were so loyal, they wouldn't try to pull a fast one over on the store. Not to mention, there's probably plenty of other loyal customers that would easily take their place. I guarantee this loyal customer will be back in the future. And our final tale today is a wholesome one from geekyarmy titled, "I Got to Give a Free Bear." I'm typing this on my break because, oh my word, it made my day. This is my second day in a seasonal job, and I'm pretty sure it will be the best day on the job. My store has a big scratch and win promotion going on. Every ticket wins and ranges from discounts to free items and a grand prize of a $200 shopping spree. One of these prizes is like a 3-foot bear. All day it's been 5% offs, a few 10% cards, one free thing, whatever. Then, at my till on my watch, a middle-aged couple scratches to win the giant bear. I was stoked. I was super happy. My client just got the bear. I happily pulled him off the shelf to give to the family. This couple said they felt bad about taking it, and instead they asked us to donate it. Maybe give it to a family that looked in need or had lots of kids. We were touched by their generosity. My coworker and I almost cried. After an hour, we got a call from our boss who wanted to check in with us. We finally asked if we could donate the bear, and she said we could give it to someone. My coworker said that I could pick the family because it was my client who pulled the bear card. Not long after that, a young-looking couple walked by, one parent holding a sleeping toddler in his arms. I imagined this kid with the bear, and my heart melted. I told my coworker I think I found the kid. She said go for it, not to ask her. The family was pretty close to the exit, so I booked it, caught up with them and said, excuse me, hi, would you like a free teddy bear?" The family was shocked, but said sure. As we walked back to the store, I explained what happened. They were shocked to see how big the bear was, but they looked really happy to be receiving this gift for their kid. Now I'm on break and can't stop smiling, and I guarantee my mother will cry when I tell her this story when I get home. Reading about this just warms my heart. It's nice to know there's good people in the world, and the fact that you found a family that would most likely be so appreciative of having that bear and can tell their child the story of how they got that bear is absolutely amazing. I'm glad that you did such a good thing, and I'm glad that the family that donated that bear did a good thing, and I hope karma treats you both well. Alright, That's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.